going into the SA Open in Durban? What was going through your mind?
Coming into the week, I wasn't playing great. I had missed a couple cuts in a row. I remember kind of coming off the course on Tuesday and being like, geez, I need to go hit some balls. There was a small kind of feel with my left knee, and as soon as I hit like 5 or 6 balls, I was like, I think I've got it. And then shot 61 on the Friday. There was really only one moment, and that was after the putt went in in the playoff. By the time I hit the putt, I was like, geez, I really want this thing to go in. And it did go in, and as soon as we left, I got in the car with my girlfriend, I closed the door, and we both just kind of sat in silence for like 5 minutes. And eventually, I think I just went like, wow.
Dill, good to have you back. If you had to look back at the version of yourself that was on this podcast about the same time last year, what do you think he would be most proud of?
I think all the travel that I did this year, all the ups and downs, experiencing new things, playing on a different tour, meeting new people, I think it takes a toll, and I'm very happy with how I handled myself throughout all of that. Yeah.
And at that stage, I think you had one Sunshine Tour win.
Correct.
Compared to now. One of those being a huge win in the SA Open. And I remember you and I were speaking about Durban and how Durban is such a special place for you. What was it like that week going into the SA Open in Durban? What was going through your mind?
A few things. First of all, I knew they'd redone the golf course, so that was an aspect that was a little bit more like, okay, we need to go have a look at this properly and see what's going on, because they've redone a lot of the different holes at Durban Country Club. I mean, it was immaculate condition when we got there. Fortunately, I was able to fly up on early Sunday, and so we had Sunday where we could just go walk around the course, myself and my caddy. They didn't allow us to play, but we just walked the course, and it was a really, looking back, it's quite surreal to like have visions of what that day was like, just looking at the different areas of the course, deciding, going through our normal like pre-tournament routine, but on the Sunday rather than, Monday or Tuesday when things are a bit more, fast paced, we can be very deliberate about our prep, and that was really fun. And so, the week began, and it was one of those weeks where actually coming into the week, I wasn't playing great. I had missed a couple cuts in a row, and 2 weeks before was Dimension Data, and I had really struggled with my game. I'd managed to just make the cut and finish, I think, 25th or so. And I really wasn't actually even happy with my game playing Monday and Tuesday when we were warming up and getting used to the course. I remember kind of coming off the course on Tuesday and being like, geez, I need to go hit some more balls. Like, I'm not happy with what I'm doing right now. And Wednesday afternoon, after we played practice round, I chatted to my coach, and I was like, I'm still not hitting it the way I want to. Can you have a look at these swings? And we had chatted in the weeks before about maybe changing too much stuff and, moving too far away from the blueprint and trying this and trying this and trying this. And he said, I don't really want to do too many different things, but yeah, have a go with this and see if it helps. And it was a small kind of feel with my left knee. And as soon as I hit like 5 or 6 balls, I was like, I think I've got it. Like, I think I'm happier with this than what I was before. And Thursday was kind of a little bit of a trial run, like the first time that I'm using this feel in tournament after maybe like 6 or so months. And it went pretty well. And I'd shot, I think, 71. And we didn't finish the round on Thursday. We got to about the 15th hole, I think, and bad light stop play. And I remember going back to my hotel room and thinking, I'm 1 under par, but I've actually played really nicely. Like, I think I'm in a good space. Like, I'm ready to go for tomorrow. I need to just do what I'm doing, and it's going to turn out good. And then Friday was a really great day. I think I finished that round 3 under par, so I made a couple birdies coming home, and then shot 61 on the Friday, which is, I mean, it's an unofficial course record because was placing for the week. But that was kind of, I really felt like the ball striking was the same level the first day as it was the second day.
Wow. This podcast has been a dream come true, and I need your help in order to grow the show. If you could do the smallest favor for me, it will be easier than making a cup of coffee. Please go and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. I watched that Friday, and I just saw, I think I put a 20 rand bet on you on the Friday. And yeah, that obviously paid off quite nicely. But maybe going into it with that less expectation, not feeling super good with your game, and just being like, oh, I'm going to try something new, see what happens. Maybe that actually helped you.
For sure. I think it just gave me a little bit of freedom to go, okay, no matter what, I'm just going to focus on this one feel. Whether it goes amazingly well or terribly bad, at least I can give feedback that's, like I've used it under the gun in a co-sanctioned event, and this is what happened, and I think that just made it a little bit easier to say, okay, I'm less worried about what the score is going to be, and I'm more focused on like this particular thing about my golf game.
And just before that, if I remember correctly, you were playing in Mauritius, and you came really close in Mauritius, and you were leading, and I think on the last day you lost the tournament. How did you come back from something like that?
Well, I didn't really feel like I lost it because John Parry shot, I think, 7 under in the last 9 holes to win it. And honestly, I look back at that week with so many positives in my mind. I can really only just tip my cap to John Parry and say, well played, because I did everything I needed to do, and variance was on his side for the week. To be in the lead for as long as I was during that week in Mauritius, I think really made SA Open feel a lot less intimidating than it would have felt if I just, been flung into the lead. I remember how nervous I was on the final day of Mauritius before the round. We were obviously staying in a nice hotel there. My girlfriend's there, and they have a really beautiful buffet options there for breakfast, and I came back from the buffet and I had one little chicken sausage on my plate, and she was like, are you not going to eat anything? And I'm like, no, I'm not really feeling up for it today. I was so nervous, and there was such big crowds even in Mauritius that when SA Open rolled around, it wasn't this like, okay, 0 to hero moment. It was, I've kind of done this before. It feels a little bit more comfortable.
And now, being in the moment, was there a certain point where you thought, maybe I can win this?
There was really only one moment, and that was after the putt went in on the last hole in the playoff, because we had played round 3 on Saturday, and then obviously they had torrential downpours on Sunday morning. So I didn't really have that opportunity to be like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this, because we still had another full days of golf in my head that we were going to play. Obviously, the rain cut that final day short. But what was crazy is we were sitting around and waiting around. I had one of the journalists come to me, and he said, we're going to do a little presentation for the RNA for the British Open spots. And that's when I realized, okay, well, the tournament's now a 54-hole tournament. It's not a 72-hole tournament. And I've gone into the British Open, like amazing, and so this all happened before they told us, like, okay, the playoff's going to be happening today. Because I mean, the course was underwater. I didn't even think we were going to get a playoff hole in on Sunday. So we had this little presentation from the RNA where they gave us a little British Open flag and asked, it was myself, Marco Penge, and Darren Fichart who got the spots. And so they're interviewing Marco, and he's very excited. And then they interview Darren, and Darren has done this, I think it was his 8th British Open that he had played it. And so he's a little bit more nonchalant about it. I'm very excited, and hopefully I can play well. And I was just thinking to myself, like, geez, he's very calm about all this. I'm kind of like quite, this is a dream for me to get the chance to play in a major. And so they did this presentation. I sat down. And then they told me the playoff's going to happen today on Sunday, and you need to get warmed up and start. And so I said, okay, I'm going to take this British Open flag and put it in my car. And as I was walking to my car, I said, okay, as soon as you close the boot of your car, you're going to forget about this. And the next time you can think about the British Open is when you've opened the boot, basically. Because you can't be so happy that you're making it into the British Open and try and win your National Open at the same time. So I kind of put that to the side and parked it. And I said, okay, now it's time to focus on this golf tournament that you're trying to win, basically.
So then in the playoff, you went up against Laurie Cantor, who's, quite experienced on the DP World Tour and has won before. What were you thinking over that final putt?
I think the first thing to put it in context was because of my second place finish at Mauritius, and then I'd made cut in the event in the Middle East that I got into. I knew I was either coming first or second in this event at the SA Open. So I had made enough points to earn a DP World Tour card for the next season, essentially. I would have enough points to keep my card for this season, despite not getting into anything else for the rest of the year. And so that was like really one of my reaching goals, was to be able to make enough points to get my card for next season. And so now either coming first or second, I knew I was going to. And so it gave me a lot more freedom going into the playoff, knowing that this is not a make or break moment for me. This is a simple opportunity to, make the rest of the year even better than what it was going to be, rather than like a career changing moment. You know what I mean? And so I went into the playoff with that mindset a little bit more freedom, a little bit more, I'm here to win my National Open, but my life isn't going to really change in the next 2 years because I've got a full card for next year.
And when that putt finally dropped?
So I remember walking up to the green and I saw Darren's wife in the crowd, Darren Fichot's wife. And I just said to myself, I need to kind of channel my inner Darren Fichot, just be, it's another day at the office and I'm just trying to make this putt, and be quite nonchalant about it, as Darren is. And so I kind of got pretty good, just in my Darren Fichot mode. And by the time I hit the putt, I was like, geez, I really want this thing to go in. Like, oh my, I really hope this goes in. And it did go in, and that was great. But just that, that little Darren Fichot impersonation got me through it, I think, a little bit.
And did you have time to reflect on it?
Yes and no. I think as soon as I won, it was just this flurry of people, wanting to speak to me, wanting to do things, taking photos with the trophy. That was all very chaotic, and it lasted probably 2 hours where you're just talking to people, shaking hands, everyone's congratulating you, and you don't really have a moment to yourself. And as soon as we left, I got in the car with my girlfriend, and I closed the door, and we both just kind of sat in silence for like 5 minutes. And then eventually, I think I just went like, wow. And she was saying, wow. And we just kind of had a little moment. We didn't listen to any radio on the way to the airport. We just sat in silence 20 minutes driving to the airport and just thinking about how this day has kind of changed my life a little bit. And then the outpouring of messages, the people and the support and everything that comes afterwards. It was a lot. It was really, really a lot, especially because I was playing the Joburg Open the following week. And in hindsight, I love the Joburg Open and it's an important tournament to me, but I should have just skipped the week because it was just so much going on and so many emotions. I woke up the next morning at like 4:00 in the morning and just like sprung awake from the adrenaline. And so I just, like, my girlfriend's asleep and I'm just sitting. I went out to the couch outside and just kind of sat there and reflected on it a little bit. So yeah.
And as you said, that also gave you entry into the Open Championship, which is a lifelong dream for, I think, any golfer who wants to go to a higher level. Once you've played in a major, like, I think that's almost like the pinnacle.
For sure. I mean, Royal Portrush was just such a special week. I had my whole team there. I had my parents there. I had my caddy's mom even came there too. So it was a really special week to just kind of savor all these people who have helped me along the journey. And at the same time, I wanted to play well. I wanted to play great because I really liked the course and I really felt it suited me. Um, it was a lot to take in during the course of the week, but I really made it a point that I'm not going to get a redo of my first major, so I'm going to play with complete conviction. I'm not going to regret anything when this week is over. And I ended up missing by 1 or 2 shots, but it was a really, really cool week.
And what was the most surreal moment of being in a major? Like, what do you not see in a TV camera?
I'm pretty good about, doing my visualization and kind of thinking about what the round is going to look like. And I kind of have a picture of what I want to achieve. We played practice round Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so you get on the first tee and there's this beautiful amphitheater of supporters and people around you. It's not completely full. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but there's plenty people for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And by the time Thursday rolled up, I didn't really think about like, okay, you're going to go down this little tunnel and you're going to, get onto the first tee and there's going to be probably 1,000 people around you just right there, in this small little space. And I got really emotional by the time I got onto the tee box because this is a moment you've waited for your entire life. And I just hadn't thought and visualized what this would look like, I'd visualized like what the second shot looks like, what everything else looks like. And I just hadn't thought about like, okay, well, this is this beautiful moment that you get to experience here on the first tee. And it was beautiful until I got to the scorer and he handed me my scorecard and I went into my back pocket and I realized I didn't have my yardage book. I left it in the warm-up area. And so I had to signal to my manager to go run and go find it. And I played the first hole without a yardage book. Obviously my caddy has a yardage book, so it was fine. But like it went from like, oh, I'm very emotional and I worked so hard for this to like, shit, I don't know where my yardage book is. So yeah, it was a special week though, for sure.
And would you say that was your most nerve-wracking tee shot of your life?
I think yes and no. It's a different kind of nerves because it's not the nerves of I'm playing great and I'm in contention and I'm here to win the golf tournament. It's the nerves of this is the first tee shot that I'll ever hit in major championships, And funny enough, it was such a perfect shot for me. The wind is off the right, driver carries the bunkers, and I just absolutely striped driver right down the middle. So it was a really like, it feels like it was set up for that moment. So it was cool.
And you mentioned also now getting a full year on the DP World Tour.
Mm-hmm.
You went to 18 different countries and you finished 56th on the race to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
What was the highlight of that season?
I think the SA Open is tough to look past, but I'd say after that, the Open was huge. But for me, Wentworth was incredible. The BMW PGA Championship, it's the flagship event of the DP World Tour. And it was rowdy. It was so many people. The crowds are so big. I played with Justin Rose in the final round, which was really, really cool too. And yeah, I think that event, it suits my game too. It's quite a tactical golf course, which doesn't super suit the big hitters. You haven't seen Rory win there. Like he just romps everywhere else. It's a little bit more finicky and it suited my game nicely.
This podcast has been a dream come true. And I need your help in order to grow the show. If you could do the smallest favor for me, it will be easier than making a cup of coffee. Please go and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Now on the DP World Tour, you had a lot more traveling than you had in any previous years. Mm-hmm. What was that adjustment like?
It was tricky. It wasn't easy. I felt this year was a little bit of try and play as many of the courses as I can. So in this coming season, I can whittle it down and pick and choose a little bit better. But until you play everywhere, it's tough to make that decision, So I played probably a little bit more golf than I would have liked to and more events than I would have liked to. And I felt that burnout a little throughout the end of the season, especially that European stretch. It's really busy and it's really intense. And yeah, I don't know the golf courses. So it's a lot of let's say, decision fatigue. You're seeing new things every single week. You get to a course, you go, okay, where is the locker room? Because I've never been here before. Something as simple as that takes an extra 5 minutes to figure out, and it's a lot more energy exerted than it would be as I previously was doing on the Sunshine Tour.
Now, going into the end of the year, you've also got a few big events in the Nedbank, first time at the Nedbank, and also the Alfred Daniel Links. How are you feeling in preparation for those events?
I feel great. I'm in the middle of a 3-week break, and I haven't had a 3-week break basically since early in the year. So it's been really good I kind of almost took a full week off. I struggled to be disciplined with my rest. So by Friday, I was hitting balls again. But yeah, it's been nice to kind of just reset a little bit. I had a really good chat with my mental coach today about what the goals are for the new season, what to look back on, what to take from this season. Just do a full reset of, okay, that season is past and we're gearing up for something better coming up.
What do you think your mindset will be like going into the SA Open next year as the defending champion?
I am going to try and take it in my stride. I'm going to try and prepare like it's any other week. It's a course I don't know too well. I haven't played Stellenbosch Golf Club that much, so it's going to be a little bit of I might do a trip beforehand and go check it out just to be prepared when the week comes. But yeah, I guess it's going to be a special event now for me going forward. It's something I haven't really had a lot of time to think about. But yeah, I'll take it one day at a time.
And what's life been like off of the golf course recently?
It's been great. It's been really good. My girlfriend and I, she's been such a rock throughout all of this. I'm really grateful to her, and I have such a good support system around me, my parents, my friends, and I'm lucky for that. It can be a lonely life, I feel, on DP if you don't have a support team around you, if you don't have people who you care about, who care about you and want to see you succeed. You're going hotel to hotel, new country to new country. It's a lot to take in, and personally, it's been I'm very lucky to have a good group of people around me.
And it's also, I mean, it's amazing. And from the outside, maybe as a fan or just an amateur golfer, you look at that and you go like, that's the absolute dream. You get to travel the world, you playing golf all the time, but I'm sure it can be taxing at times.
For sure. I think especially when you're on week 4, 5, 6 in a row and you're kind of a little bit mentally depleted. I've been pretty good physically. I haven't been like tired, fatigued physically, but mentally it's a lot because you're giving it your all every single week. You're not just half-assing it. You're giving it everything you've got because you want to win and you want to perform and play well. So that concentration level, it takes its toll eventually. And yeah, I think it's important for me. We've kind of looked at the schedule and I have better gapping, better breaks to really have the motivation to go again. Yeah.
How important is that time off away from the golf course?
It's huge. And like I said, it's something that I need to be more disciplined with myself about is, you don't have to be on your phone when it's downtime. You really do need to sleep and take that time for your body to recover and repair. And I think that side of golf is people will look at it and be like, oh yeah, you see, they don't really do that much. But because of the intensity at which we work throughout those tournament weeks, you need to take that downtime and you need to be really deliberate about the downtime.
So I remember in that first episode, you spoke quite a lot about like the mental game, the visualization. Do you use some of those techniques off of the golf course?
Honestly, no.
Really?
Maybe I need to do it a little bit more. But yeah, it's kind of more focused on the stuff on the course, but it could be useful to maybe do a little bit more of that off the course.
Because I mean, being present, on the golf course is obviously what you need, and I think that's also, like you said, I think that's one of the big reasons why you did so well in the SA Open. You didn't let the moment get to you, the crowd, the occasion, the fact that you're in Durban, it's your home thing, because as soon as you start building up all of that stuff, then that's when your mind isn't focused on what's in front of you.
You have to, and golf is really about this physical shot that you have in front of you and building that process around it. And I think that's something that it's become a lot easier this year. Previously, if you have a small group of fans around you, you're kind of thinking about, oh, what do they think about me? How am I playing? Blah, blah, blah. Those like little judgment things that you're thinking about. Now it's like, honestly, it feels like NPC characters in a game. Like you don't even see the faces of the people. You just like focus on yourself. So I think that part of it has changed a lot for me.
And do you feel like you've let go of a little bit of doubt?
A little bit. I think there's different doubts that creep in. There's moments where I think, am I good enough to be here? Is it just because of one tournament that I've played well in? And this is something that I actively talk quite a lot to my mental coaches. Like, okay, but you're proving it every single day. You're proving it through the work that you're doing. You're proving it through the processes that you're doing, that you can be proud of what you're doing every single week. And that's always been a little bit of something that I've kept inside of me. And it's been really nice to have someone to talk through that stuff with,
What would you say to someone who maybe does doubt themselves and doesn't believe that they're capable of what other people maybe believe they're capable of?
I think the most important thing is to prove it through the work that you do. Be proud of the work that you do. Be proud of your preparation, of the time that you spend on your work. And I think then it's easier to quieten that voice. No one's saying that voice doesn't need to be there, but that voice doesn't need to be on full blast at all times. It can just be a friend in the corner rather than screaming in your ears all the time,
Yeah.
I think if you can prove to yourself through what you're doing all the time that you should have this belief in yourself, maybe that voice can be a bit quieter.
Do you think your voice is going to be a little bit quieter going into Stellenbosch?
For sure. I think it was different being on the Sunshine Tour and almost playing with only stuff to gain and nothing to lose. Like if I had finished, I don't know, 10th in that week, it would have been a thumbs up and a nice paycheck, and we carry on the Sunshine Tour and play the Challenge Tour schedule out. This year will be a little bit different because I've got a full card on DP and I'm trying to, perform as well as I can in the race to Dubai season long standing. So it'll be a little bit different, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Dill, all the best for the SA Open. I'm definitely going to put another bet down, maybe a bit more than a 20 this time. But yeah, thanks for coming on again. I do have one final question for you. So if tomorrow was your last day, how would you spend it?
I'd probably play around a golf in the morning. I'd stay in city probably, just make it easy for myself. I would have lunch with my girlfriend, who would go out somewhere nice. I would, in the evening, go visit my parents and just relax, maybe play some table tennis with my dad. And yeah, that's about it. I think that'll be a good day, a good final day.
I love that. And you don't overcomplicate things. I think you're quite calm and quite simple with the way you go about things, and I really admire that.
Appreciate it. Thanks, dude.
And going into the SA Open, I mean, last time that episode we did, I think we were sitting on about 60 views, and all of a sudden you won the SA Open 2 months later, and it went from 60 to 1.2 thousand or something. So yeah, my horse is on you. But Dill, it's always nice to chat with you. Thanks for coming around, and I'm sure we'll do it again.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.